Right now, an NYPD officer killed in the line of duty in the Bronx. Officer Brian Mulkeen was fatally shot during a violent struggle with an armed suspect just after midnight. Fellow officers remembering him as a courageous natural leader who died fighting violence in the community he called home. We'll take you to the scene of where this 6-year veteran died, plus the latest on the ongoing investigation. The Pix 11 News at 5 starts right now.
Live from 42nd and 2nd, this is New York's very own Pix 11 News at 5.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kaidi Chong. You're watching the Pix 11 News at 5. A tragic day for New York's finest. 33-year-old Officer Brian Mulkeen died during a hand-to-hand struggle with a suspect police say was just out on parole. We have team coverage tonight from the Bronx. Pix 11's Christiane Benavides live from the scene outside the Edenwald houses. And Shirley Chen is at Fordham University where the officer volunteered on his days off. First, let's check in with Christiane with the very latest on the investigation. Christiane.
Hi there, Kaidi. There's still a heavy police presence here at the Edenwald houses. That young police officer losing his life protecting the residents of this housing project. Now his family, his girlfriend, who is also a police officer, and the entire city are mourning his death. This is the gun police say was recovered from the scene of the deadly police shooting that took the life of 33-year-old Officer Brian Mulkeen, on the force for nearly 7 years, assigned to the 47th Precinct. It happened overnight, just after 12:30, as a group of officers from the Bronx Borough Anti-Crime Unit were on patrol on East 229th Street at the Edenwald houses.
I heard boom, boom, boom.
This woman was crossing the street when she heard gunfire.
I heard more shots and I'm like, oh no, it's something serious. And as I heard them, I started screaming because I was scared.
They were there because of gang activity, which included recent shootings in that area. 3 officers in 1 police car got out of their vehicle to question a man.
When the officers approached the suspect, he started running. Officer Mulkeen and his partner brought the suspect to the ground and a violent struggle ensued.
Body-worn camera, Officer Mulkeen can be heard yelling, "He's reaching for it. He's reaching for it." At this time, numerous shots were fired, and our officer was struck a total of 3 times.
The suspect is 27-year-old Antonio Williams, who at the time of the shooting was out on parole for a narcotics-related arrest. He was shot dead by responding officers.
5 officers at the location fired their service weapons, striking the man. The suspect was pronounced deceased on the scene, and his firearm, a .32 caliber revolver, was recovered by police.
And we just got into our newsroom. The police scanner, that audio transmission of the moments that the shooting took place, we'll have that for you coming up at 5:30. Live at the Edenwald houses in the Bronx, I'm Christiane Benavides, Pix 11 News.
Christiane, thank you. And Fordham flags flying at half-mast to honor Officer Mulkeen, who was a graduate of that university. And that's where we find Pix 11's Shirley Chen now. Shirley.
Yeah, Kaidi, it is not just the NYPD in mourning. The Fordham University community here as well. Brian Mulkeen is a graduate and also current volunteer coach. The flags here on campus are flying at half-staff. This evening, we are learning more about his service to the city of New York as well as to the Fordham community. A dark day in New York City, unfortunately one of too many. Another NYPD officer has been killed in the line of duty. He was just 33 years old, spending 6.5 brave years on the job. Brian Mulkeen was shot dead in a struggle over his gun while patrolling the area as part of an anti-crime unit in the Bronx.
Brian was a great cop, dedicated to keeping the city safe. In fact, just last night, he arrested a male in possession of a gun in his very same precinct.
Mulkeen moved to this Yorktown Heights neighborhood less than a year ago. He lived here with his girlfriend. She's also an NYPD cop in the Bronx. Neighbors are asking for privacy. The loss of one of their residents glaring as flags are being flown at half-staff at government buildings in town.
Brian made a choice, an incredibly noble choice, to leave a civilian life, a lucrative career. He wanted to protect other people.
Mulkeen is a graduate of Fordham University. He excelled as a member of the track and field team. In his senior year, he won a bronze medal at the 2008 Atlanta 10 Indoor Championship in the weight throw competition. Just last month, he rejoined the team as a volunteer coach in his off-duty time. The school's current head coach and a former teammate of Brian's telling Pix 11, quote, "He was always someone we could count on. He made everyone around him better with his drive and enormous heart. His devotion to family and friends was unmatched." The president of the university also released a statement that reads in part, "The Fordham family has lost one of its own to senseless violence today. Brian Mulkeen went out into the world to do exactly what we expect of our alumni, be a man for others, and he was slain in service to the local community." Other tributes are also pouring in. His instructor at the police academy called him a natural leader, courageous and honest, and tweeted, "Brian inspired his team to greater feats and will never be forgotten. RIP, my friend," and #hero. So from what we have learned about Brian Mulkeen, he is nothing short of an exceptional person focused on giving back to the city of New York as well as to his alma mater. Now, in addition to his girlfriend, Mulkeen also leaves behind his parents and a sister. We're live from Fordham University tonight. Shirley Chan, Pix 11 News.
Such a tragedy. Shirley, thank you. And the area in the Bronx where Officer Mulkeen was killed has a long history of gang violence. In 2016, 120 gang members and associates were arrested after a raid of several housing complexes, including the Edenwald houses. At that time, it was the largest gang bust in the city's history. The raids targeted two different rival gangs in the Bronx. They had reportedly been at war with each other for a decade. The suspects were charged with narcotics conspiracy, racketeering, and conspiracy weapons offenses in a federal case. Stay with Pix 11 News for continuing coverage on Officer Brian Mulkeen, who was killed this morning in the line of duty. You can always find the latest online at pix11.com or by downloading the Pix 11 News app. Well, thousands flooded the streets of New York City today for this year's Tunnel to Towers 5K run. This event honors firefighter Stephen Siller, who was killed on 9/11. The 5K started in Brooklyn, ended at the World Trade Center site. It follows the route that Siller took when he ran in full gear through the Battery Tunnel to help save lives at Ground Zero. He ran through the tunnel because it was closed to traffic.
Yeah, I was down here on that day, on September 11th, and I remember everything, and this is wonderful to see how we're honoring everyone that we lost that day. A lot of friends, a lot of people, a lot of good people. And me and my brother here, we dug up a pile 2 weeks later, so we come here, it never gets old.
The Stephen Siller Tunnel to Towers Foundation helps build homes for injured military veterans, as well as the families of first responders who lost their lives in the line of duty. All right, time now to turn to weather, and I'm so very happy to introduce the latest member of the Pix 11 News family, meteorologist Stacey Ann Gooden. Welcome, Stacey Ann. We're so happy to have you join us.
Oh, thank you so much, Katie. It's such a pleasure to be here. I mean, I've watched Pix 11 for years. I feel like we're family already. And thanks for welcoming me. It's and I'm bringing in the sunshine too. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
That's right. It's been like really warm so far for the month of September and for the fall season. So far, so good. We do have some cooler air coming through. That's going to take a little while. 80. That's where we topped out here in Manhattan. 79 out in Islip. A little bit cooler eastern Long Island and of course Bridgeport, Connecticut, coming in at a whopping 80 degrees as well. Of course, we are a good about 7 to about 10 degrees above average for this time of year. We're in the upper 60s right now. Those were our highs, and temperatures are starting to simmer down a little bit, starting to cool down, and we can expect the cool down to continue into tonight. Also, the dry air, that's going to continue to prevail. We are tracking some wet weather to our north and west, mainly over the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest. Not going to make it here for the time being. Here's what we're looking at. It's a seasonable start to the work week and to the end of the weekend, that is. But the question is, will it last? We do have some rain in the forecast. We're going to talk about that, Katie, coming up.
Sounds good, Stacey Ann. Thank you. A woman's body was found last night at Bear Mountain State Park in Rockland County. It happened after Poughkeepsie police received a phone call on Friday night from someone who said that his father had told him he had killed his mother. Police say that father's name is George Grogan and the mother's name is Audrey. While police were searching for them, a woman's body was found inside a vehicle that investigators believe George Grogan had been driving. The victim's identity has not yet been confirmed, but police say George Grogan still has not been found. Well, this weekend, more than 350 weapons were turned in Nassau County. Authorities say the 3-hour gun buyback held yesterday in Hempstead yielded 368 firearms. The event paid out more than $63,000. A total of 188 handguns, 154 rifles, and 26 assault rifles were turned in. This was the second buyback program in Hempstead this year. In August, county officials at Essex say 332 firearms were brought back, and they paid out then $41,000. All right, Senator Chuck Schumer says despite the impeachment inquiry, Congress should move forward on universal gun background checks. This comes after President Trump met with Wayne LaPierre, the president of the NRA, at the White House on Friday. The New York Times reported the meeting was about ways the NRA could help finance Trump's impeachment defense. But Senator Schumer says Congress should still move on serious issues like gun violence.
President Trump must do whatever it takes to resist the clouded comfort he craves from the likes of Wayne LaPierre and the NRA, because it will lead to inaction on one of the biggest issues facing the American public and that American people want addressed: universal gun background checks.
The Times says it's not clear if the president asked for help or if LaPierre offered it. It's against the law for tax-exempt organizations to spend money for the personal benefit of their officials. All right, SNL kicked off its 45th season last night with an impeachment-themed cold open. Alec Baldwin returned to the show as President Trump. The sketch featured him phoning up his colleagues, his family, and celebrity allies, asking for their help in fighting the newly opened impeachment inquiry.
Dad, it's your sons.
And Eric.
Dad, I just can't believe the lamestream media is focused on you and not on the corruption of Joe Biden's son.
I know. By the way, did you take care of that thing in Russia for me?
What thing in Russia?
The treason.
Eric.
The cold open also had Kim Jong-un swoop in to give advice to President Trump. The North Korean leader was played by the show's first Asian cast member, Bowen Yang. All right, still to come on the Pix 7 News at 5, another deck collapse in New Jersey, this time leaving one person injured. Plus, East New York on the rise. The new projects in the community aimed at giving kids a safe place to have fun. And still ahead, the Bronx Zoo now in a legal battle with animal rights activists. The animal they want to be recognized as a person. Coming up. Making East New York safer for children. That is the goal of several new projects for this neighborhood on the rise. They include a state-of-the-art park and a community center. Here's Pix 11's Monica Morales with the story.
Hey, good to see you, Monica. How are you?
Yeah. We got a sneak peek of a new NYPD community center with Deputy Mayor Vicky Bean and Councilmember Rafael Espinal.
I have not seen this yet.
It's set to open up next month on Pennsylvania Avenue here in East New York, where there's a new indoor basketball court.
Isn't this amazing?
And an activity center for children and teens.
We heard over and over again throughout the process, we need things for kids to do. We need things for our youth. And this is it.
It's massive. It's geared for kids between the ages of 12 and 19 years old.
Movie night and those kinds of things. There's a dance studio, there's a music rehearsal studio, there's all kinds of social services.
And the NYPD is right here as well. Deputy Inspector Danielle Reyes says it's more than just a safe place for kids to play, but a place to build important connections and have access to resources.
All of the youth in the community, and we're hoping that we can really change some lives here.
For the police and their youth to be working together from the time the kids are young, it's really, really a model.
Next stop, City Line Park.
It was just a, layer of asphalt.
Bean is right. Look at what it looked like before. It's been opened for just 3 weeks now.
This is all new.
That asphalt yard at the corner of Atlantic Avenue and Fountain Avenue is now critical green space for the community, with a track and wellness center, and the coolest part, a new skate park for skateboarders of all ages.
These communities have had lots of promises made to them and lots of promises broken. We're going to make sure that there's transparency, that there's tracking, that you deliver on your promises.
Thank you for showing us that East New York is definitely on the rise.
And that was Monica Morales. In Morris County, New Jersey, one person was hurt when a deck collapsed. This happened at a home in Hackettstown yesterday afternoon. About 10 people were out on that deck when it collapsed. A 41-year-old man fell 5 feet to the ground. Police say he only suffered minor injuries, though. Local officials say they're going to investigate whether the deck was properly installed with the proper permits. The cause of the collapse, not yet known. All right, Halloween, nearly a month away, but we're already talking about the Halloween parade. This year, New Yorkers are invited to embrace their wild side at the Greenwich Village March. I don't think they need much encouragement. This year's theme is Wild Thing. Organizers say it's a salute to creatures and myth and legends inspired by animals and nature, from werewolves to the green man spirit of the forest and pagan cultures. Revelers are encouraged to let their imaginations run wild. Again, I don't think they need any encouragement. This parade is always a very imaginative, very creative. The 46th annual Village Parade starts at 7 o'clock, October 31st. So we're talking Halloween, but really summer does not want to go quite yet. It's going to be something like what? 89 on Wednesday, Stacey Ann?
Yes, we're going to be flirting with that 90-degree mark for sure, Heidi. And last October, we made it to around 64 at Central Park. So it was a pretty nice Halloween. And it looks like we stand to have another round of pretty nice temperatures. Speaking of which, we are in the upper 70s this afternoon out in New Jersey. Sussex, 75, 77, a nice pair of 7s there in Morristown. Newark coming in at 78. So it's unseasonably warm. Summer is hanging on for the time being. Around the tri-state, for the most part, we are well into the 70s. We did actually make it to 80 degrees. Those winds out of the northeast, mainly in the single digits. We have a little bit of a breeze out there in Islip at about 10 miles per hour. So nothing to really be too concerned about or write home about. Certainly is one of those comfortable days. Low humidity, dew points at around 60, which isn't so bad. Just slight humidity in the air. The clouds not too far away. We are also tracking some showers across the Great Lakes, upper Midwest. But the thing is, we do have a high pressure to our north, a high pressure to our south. Why is that important? Well, it's going to keep all this rain at bay and keep us nice and dry for the time being. But the question is, for how long? We do have those clouds continue to roll through. We're tracking a warm front that's slated to arrive on Wednesday. That could spell a few showers, mainly around the upper Hudson Valley, particularly Dutchess, Putnam County, Ulster County as well, mainly north and west of the city. Trailing behind that, a cold front will slide in, and that's going to provide us with some more wet weather, and it could get a little bit heavy at times. It's been a dry month. So far this month, we are at a deficit anywhere from about 2 to 3 inches below normal. So we actually need the rain, and we stand to get some later on in the week, and some cooler temperatures too. So for your Monday, of course, Rosh Hashanah begins later on this evening at sunset, and sun and clouds expected for your Monday. Another round, of course, Rosh Hashanah again as we head into sunset tomorrow as well. We'll be in the low 70s. We'll have your 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes, Heidi.
Sounds good, Stacey Ann. Thank you. A man who drove through a mall in Illinois has been charged with terrorism.
Yo, this is not happening right now.
This was the scene just over a week ago. Shoppers posted the shocking video on social media. People running, ducking for cover as that SUV drove past stores, knocking down kiosks. Police say 24-year-old Javier Garcia here crashed through a glass door at Sears and then just kept driving through the mall. They still don't know why he did it. Happily, nobody was hurt. Senator Cory Booker says that he has met the donor threshold for the November debates. Today, Booker hosted a block party outside of South Carolina's state campaign headquarters. The announcement comes after the Democratic National Committee last week raised the threshold. Candidates must raise money from 165,000 separate donors. That's up from 130,000. Booker says he's ready. He also commented on the whistleblower report.
And I think we see a president right now, what's implicated in that transcript in the whistleblower report is someone that, frankly, was pursuing their own interest above our national security interest.
The DNC also requires candidates to reach 3% in at least 4 DNC-approved polls of Democratic voters. That is a 1% poll increase. A power outage in Nevada did not bring an end to a campaign event for Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg. Yep, he was speaking at a high school when the lights that you see right there went out and his microphone went dead. Well, attendees, look at them, quickly created some light with their smartphones. That is cool. Buttigieg then said, quote, "Can you hear me if I just yell? This is how they used to do politics. You just had to project your voice." So true. Still to come on the Pix 11 News at 5, there's an elephant in the room in the Bronx. Plus, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. That's a message from Governor Cuomo to L train riders who are enduring constant construction. And still ahead is a city that never sleeps, and many delivery men will soon be forced to burn the midnight oil. We'll explain. And Andy's here with sports.
Hi, Heidi. All right, coming up, it was Giants taking on Washington, and this was a fun one. We've got your highlights, your post-game reaction. Plus, it looks like Joe Girardi is about to get a new job, and Luis Severino is looking for some revenge, and it was pretty sweet. Sports is coming up.
Animal rights activists are suing the Bronx Zoo, demanding the release of an elephant. The legal showdown has been in the works for quite a long time. Pix 11's Andrew Ramos has details now.
Happy the elephant has called the Bronx Zoo home for more than 4 decades. Although she's had some roommates over the years, the Asian elephant has been solo since 2006 in what animal rights activists describe as a cramped and lonely enclosure. And it's why they waged a legal fight to get her out and into a sanctuary. In a historic court hearing Monday in Bronx Supreme Court, Happy became the first elephant ever to have a hearing ordered on her behalf. Attorneys for the Non-Human Rights Project, a nonprofit organization which filed the lawsuit against the zoo, argued Happy's liberty is being violated.
For the law to say that elephants and every single other animal, just because they're not human, has to remain relegated to the status of property, of thing, like a car, is simply wrong.
Kevin Schneider, the organization's executive director, who is also one of the attorneys on the case, says the group is citing science in their fight to get the court to recognize Happy as a person entitled to legal rights.
The science shows that elephants are autonomous beings. They have a free will. They are not cabined by instinct. They have an interest in their own lives.
While the group's argument had enough merit to warrant a day in court, some experts say it may be a hard sell. The Non-Human Rights Project have launched similar legal fights in the past, including demanding personhood be granted to 2 upstate chimpanzees, but has yet to notch a win. In a statement to Pix 11, the Bronx Zoo emphatically denies the claims being made by the Non-Human Rights Project, insisting that Happy is in fact content at the zoo and gets frequent round-the-clock care from staff. The two go back to court next month. I'm Andrew Ramos, Pix 11 News.
Still to come on the Pix 7 News at 5, a new study detailing the impact that marijuana may have on autism. Plus, L train riders, this one's for you. The first phase of the L train construction completed ahead of schedule. Did you hear me? Those details coming up. Some are calling it the light at the end of the tunnel. Governor Cuomo declaring that repairs to the L train tube between Brooklyn and Manhattan are ahead of schedule and on budget. But Pix 11's McGee Hickey is live in Williamsburg, where apparently subway riders are not all rejoicing just yet. Hi there, McGee.
Hi there, Heidi. They just don't believe it. Wouldn't you think everyone would be happy that the L train tunnel repairs are ahead of schedule and under budget, or on budget, as they say? Well, apparently, lots of subway riders are really skeptical.
This was impossible to do when we first started talking about it. You couldn't do it.
But they did it. Governor Cuomo and MTA officials were busy patting themselves on the back as they announced that the first phase of the L train tunnel rehabilitation project was ahead of schedule and on budget. As they toured the completed Manhattan-bound tube on Sunday, they said that work on the first tube concluded after only 5 months, and the entire Canarsie Tunnel rehab is now set to be finished on budget in April 2020, 3 months ahead of schedule.
Newsflash, innovation works, new technology works, finding faster, better ways works. And it's a lesson for the whole MTA. because this shouldn't be the exception, this should be the rule.
The original plan to repair damage caused by Superstorm Sandy in 2012 called for a total shutdown of the East River Tunnel. But in January, the governor called that off, instead opting for repair work only on nights and weekends.
We've kept L service completely normal for 88% of the L train customers, and hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers would have been inconvenienced and had their commutes totally changed if you hadn't intervened.
The L train is one of the city's most crowded. There are 400,000 rides daily, and more than half go through the tunnel. But subway riders were skeptical about the progress being made.
I always feel a sense of dread every time I take the L train in the morning. I feel like I have to not inhale completely because I'm basically packed like sardines, just like everyone else is, and it's probably the most uncomfortable train to ride.
Mass confusion. It's not mass stress, it's just mass confusion.
I will definitely believe that it is ahead of schedule and on budget when I see it.
So the governor is promising that it will be totally completed, the rehab project of the tunnel, by April of 2020 instead of June 2020. And as you just heard, those subway riders are saying, I'll believe it when I see it. We are live in Williamsburg, right in front of the L train here at Bedford Avenue. McGee Hickey, Pix 11 News. Back to you, Katie.
Yeah, maybe a healthy dose of skepticism there. Thank you, McGee. We continue our coverage of NYPD officer Brian Mulkeen, killed in the line of duty this morning in the Bronx. Police say this man, 27-year-old Antonio Williams, was the one who shot and killed Officer Mulkeen during a violent struggle. They say he was just out on parole. Let's go back to Pix 11's Christian Benavides, who's in the Edenwald section of the Bronx with more on this tragedy. Christian.
Hi there, Kaidi. It is a dark day here in New York City as the entire city is mourning the loss of a young police officer. We know that it was a group of police officers that saw a man who was acting suspicious. When they tried to approach him, he ran. Officer Mulkeen, along with his partner, they were on top of him. And at one point, the gun went off, and that's how Officer Mulkeen lost his life.
That's right, guys.
Police scanners caught the chaotic moments as police responded to one of their own being shot. Witnesses described the scene.
I heard boom, boom, boom. I heard more shots, and I'm like, oh no, it's something serious. And as I heard them, I started screaming because I was scared.
Now the city is mourning the death of 33-year-old police officer Brian Mulkeen, who was shot dead while out on patrol at the Edenwald houses in the Bronx.
They were there because of gang activity, which included recent shootings in that area. 3 officers in 1 police car got out of their vehicle to question a man.
Here is the gun police say was recovered from the scene.
Body-worn camera, Officer Mulkeen can be heard yelling, "He's reaching for it. He's reaching for it." At this time, numerous shots were fired, and our officer was struck a total of 3 times.
The suspect is 27-year-old Antonio Williams, who at the time of the shooting was out on parole for a narcotics-related arrest. He was shot dead by responding officers.
5 officers at the location fired their service weapons, striking the man. The suspect was pronounced deceased on the scene, and his firearm, a .32 caliber revolver, was recovered by police.
Both the mayor and Governor Cuomo spoke about the officer who lost his life.
He made the greatest sacrifice. He put his life on the line, and he lost it in service to the people of this city.
He wanted to protect other people. He loves this city. He wanted to protect other people, and he put his life on the line, and he gave his life for all of us.
Officer Mulkeen leaves behind his family and also a girlfriend that he lived with. That girlfriend, also an NYPD officer. We're live in the Edenwald section of the Bronx. I'm Christian Benavides, Pix 11 News.
Christian, thank you. Well, the City Council has passed a bill requiring deliveries be made at night in hopes of reducing traffic congestion caused by double-parked delivery trucks. Under this plan, deliveries would be made between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. below 60th Street and something else that has to be determined. Buildings would be exempt if they are close to residential areas or lack the necessary staffing to receive those deliveries. All right, you know, I'm liking this weather, but first of all, you guys know each other, right?
Yeah,
and we've been welcoming.
Yes, on air, welcome you. We're very happy to have you.
We are so happy, and we were talking about the nice weather. Yes. But you notice both of us are wearing our glasses today.
Right.
Yes.
Because my glasses.
Yeah, you didn't get the memo.
Next time.
But for me, it's because my allergies are kicking up.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel it in my eyes.
Me too.
I feel it in my sinuses, and of course, I'm back and forth computer models and whatnot. It's a mess. I'm a mess, but no worries. I'm bringing on the sunshine, and this dry stretch will continue. We had a little bit of a teaser. We're looking at temperatures. Our highs for today, 80 degrees. We just almost made it over at LaGuardia, and of course, Newark came in at 81 degrees. So Islip also 79 there. And normally we should be at 70. So we are at a good 10-degree departure from where we should be this time of year. Our lows normally should be at around 56. We were mainly in the 60s and 70 officially over at Central Park. So we are expecting some rain, hopefully to wash away some of the allergens, but that's not until later on this week. So again, we have plenty of sunshine, still 77 degrees, humidity on the lower end of the scale. We did have dew point temperatures in the 60s early this morning. It's already declining and will continue to do so throughout the rest of the evening. We are at 77 New York City, a little bit cooler in Islip as well as Belmar, 69 in Newburgh. So Hudson Valley trending a little bit cooler, as is usually the case this time of year. Winds are going to remain light. Again, we are tracking some showers and some thunderstorms. I know Chicago had gotten a lot of severe weather over the weekend, and still that is the case. There have been some delays and cancellations at the airports. We're not seeing any of that. Our saving grace, again, that high pressure to our north, again to our south. Mild air will take shape, will continue to do so. We have that southwesterly flow that's going to be moving through. We're tracking this warm front slated to arrive on Tuesday. That is what could potentially bring us those record highs come Wednesday, and also a few showers along with that come Tuesday evening, mainly over the upper Hudson Valley region. Once that cold front passes through, we do have a greater chance on your Thursday seeing more showers across the area. It'll be a little bit of a snoozer, but certainly we're not out of the realm of that. And we are also tracking the tropics, by the way. Lorenzo still churning, now weakening. Yesterday this time, we're at a Cat 4 and then became a Cat 5 last night. Right now, maximum sustained winds 115 miles per hour as of right now. Losing a little bit of that defined eye. We really have that tight core. That's not the case. Taking a look at the track, it's going to stay out to sea, moving over the Azores, and of course, just off the coast of Ireland. So not going to be a major threat here to the U.S., of course. Back here at home, 57 degrees, dry for tonight. A few clouds in the mix. Suburbs, about 47 to about 59. That's just going to be the range for tomorrow. More seasonal. This is actually where we should be, and we'll get there. Mixture of sun and clouds, and then the warm-up will begin as we head into Tuesday. Again, Rosh Hashanah sundown this evening, tomorrow evening as well. And then here comes the warmth, the heat, and the humidity will be back in full effect on your Wednesday. Remember, the record to beat, 90 degrees, and we will come close, my friends. Of course, we'll keep you on track with what's to come, but we do have more fall-like weather beginning Thursday. We'll be maxing out at 70 degrees. There is a slight chance of showers again later on in the day. Just have the umbrella handy. You should be fine though overall. Friday, dry weather continues. It will prevail into the weekend. So far, so good. And again, feeling like fall finally. Heidi.
Stacey Ann, thank you. The impeachment investigation into President Trump is moving forward. House Democrats are working to bring the whistleblower before Congress to testify on the complaint that President Trump tried to get Ukraine to interfere in the 2020 election. Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, telling NBC's Meet the Press a tentative agreement has been reached for the whistleblower to testify before Congress.
All that needs to be done at this point is to make sure that the attorneys that represent the whistleblower get the clearances that they need to be able to accompany the whistleblower to testimony.
President Trump maintains he's done nothing wrong, but with possible testimony looming, some Republicans are dismissing the whistleblower's complaint. Senator Lindsey Graham questioned the basis of the inquiry on CBS's Face the Nation.
I think this whole thing is a sham. I can't believe we're talking about impeaching the president based on an accusation based on hearsay. Who is this whistleblower?
The president's surrogates also rallied in his defense. Speaking to Fox News' Chris Wallace, White House aide Stephen Miller doubled down on Trump's talking points.
The behavior of this individual is close to a spy.
Some Democrats also want to hear from Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. His name appears multiple times in the whistleblower's report. Giuliani told Face the Nation that he'd testify if Trump asks him to, though he argues the investigation is tainted by political motives.
I wouldn't cooperate with Adam Schiff. I think Adam Schiff should be removed.
But some of the president's supporters say Giuliani's actions and possible testimony will not shift public opinion.
If Democrats want to impeach because Rudy Giuliani talked to a couple Ukrainians, good luck with that. I don't think the American people think that's the appropriate course of action.
Stay with Pix 11 for continuing coverage of the impeachment inquiry. You can always find the latest online at pix11.com or by downloading the Pix 11 News app. All right, after the break, fall is here and some of the most beautiful seasonal destinations are just a short drive away. Then a woman comes to the rescue of some fawns in distress. The endearing stories next. Plus, Andy's here with sports.
Hey, Heidi. All right, coming up, it was Giants taking on Washington. This was a great game. We've got your highlights, your post-game reaction. Plus, it looks like Joe Girardi is about to get a new job. We've got the latest on that. And Luis Severino, well, he's looking for a little revenge. And I'll tell you right now, it was sweet. Sports is coming up.
If you're planning a getaway this season, we have some inspiration from TripAdvisor's annual fall survey. Here are the top destinations for New Yorkers flying out of LaGuardia and JFK. Coming in at number 5 is the always popular Las Vegas vacation. The 4th most popular trip is across the pond to London. Number 3 is Orlando, which most likely includes a stop at Disney World. Number 2 is the always romantic Paris. And the number 1 most popular destination for New Yorkers is Rome, Italy. Very interesting. Or stay at home in New York. We're having beautiful weather right now. One last look at the weather before we go, Stacey. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Stay right here because the weather is like impeccable and it's going to stay pretty dry and nice and cool tonight. And in fact, quite seasonable. We should be right at around the upper 50s and the suburbs maybe a little bit cooler. Also in the upper Hudson Valley region. Another thing we're tracking, coastal flood advisory. This is actually going to go into effect sometime tomorrow morning for most of the counties highlighted in this bluish or aqua color, if you will. And also earlier in the afternoon, tides will be at around 1 to 2 feet above normal. It'll just be minor. And this is all because of that sea breeze, that onshore flow that's going to be pumping in some of that action. But for the most part, we stay dry. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, the heat is on. We're going to be tracking warmer than normal temperatures and then a cool down later on in the week. Kaidi.
Thank you, Stacey Ann. A woman in Georgia proves how in times of trouble, you really are stronger than you think you are. She was able to bend a metal fence to rescue a trapped deer twice in one day. Pix 11's Tamsin Fidel has the story.
Chloe Dorsey says during her morning run in Stone Mountain Park, she encountered a sort of damsel in distress.
What is happening right now? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, is this happening right now? Like I'm gonna have to save a doe. Stop!
A deer, a female deer stuck between the bars of a fence. Chloe couldn't pull her through or push her back. The only way was to go all superhero on those bars, and Chloe did it.
Oh, I was aching, like I need a massage.
A happy ending for about 5 seconds until the deer got stuck in another fence.
You need to learn how to jump, boo. Everything going through me, like I'm just like, I'm gonna have to save you again. Like you got stuck again. Like you need to learn how to jump, boo.
So Chloe put her biceps to work a second time and made a second save. Another happy ending. And this time, it was for keeps. Chloe says this all could have been avoided if the deer just learned how to go over the fence. But the adventure has added a new phrase to pop culture.
Dear Chloe, you need to learn how to jump, boo.
That's all right, good for her.
That's going to be my thing now. You got to learn how to jump, boo.
Yeah, and that deer has to get smarter. That does it for us at 5. We'll see you back here tonight at 10. Have a great night, everybody. See you soon.
Like that. Good.